So if you didn't already know, I turned 20 this year on my birthday, June 20th. Not only was June my birthday month, but it was also a very eventful month for everyone because it is the 6-month mark into the year. And as if time wasn't going fast enough, we're now reaching the 7th month mark into the year. And I don't know about y'all, but this year has been very eventful for me. But I want to say that in the best way possible, considering that these 2 years that I've been walking with the Lord, I've been through so many ups and downs and so many things that I have experienced for the very first time. And I just want to share with you guys some things that I've learned throughout the trajectory of my life and even in my early stages of my walk, leading all the way up until now. So on to the points. As I stated before, this is my 2nd year walking with the Lord. And so it was my anniversary 3 days after my birthday. So starting with that point, I want to say I learned early on that having crazy faith looks a lot like being delusional. In these last 2 years of my early adulthood and walking with the Lord, I've taken so many big steps of faith. Definitely more like leaps of faith, but you get my point. Now, I want to say there is a difference between delusion and faith. However, when God is calling you to have crazy faith and to make big moves that honestly aren't planned, it looks like delusion. And I can say this firsthand from experience of the things that He started to call me to do once I started to walk with Him. And that point leads into another point that I honestly have been reminded of recently, and that is that money doesn't equal stability. A lot of the times God would call me to do something and I would not have the funds for it, and that ties into the fact that it required a lot of my faith to be able to move on this thing, not knowing how it would come to pass. And in many situations, I considered myself to be unstable because I didn't have the funds, or I considered myself to be in this mindset of lack because I thought that money equaled stability. I thought that money would make me stable. But in fact, my stability comes from the Lord. And because of that, I am stable with or without money. With that being said, I also learned that you cannot have faith and worry at the same time. They literally contradict each other. God does not want us to worry. He wants us to live a carefree life, free of the cares of this world, and to just focus on the joy of Him and focus on the joy of serving in the kingdom of God. And I know it is easier said than done, but it's definitely possible and doable. So now my next point starts off by saying that your perception is not reality, but what you perceive becomes your reality. So what I mean by that is what you believe in your mind, what you think in your mind, these things affect what you do, and it also affects your surroundings. All in all, it's about what you believe. So when we believe something to be true, or when we believe something to be right, it affects the way that we do things in our life. It affects the people that we surround ourselves with, and it affects the way that we perceive situations. Ultimately, it becomes our own personal reality of what we believe our reality to be. It may not always be the truth of what life is or what we should see our situation as, but it becomes our reality in a way that we believe it to be true, and so it is very real to us. That also goes to show how your mindset is 90% of the battle, and the fact that mental health is a very spiritual thing. A lot of people like to separate mental from spiritual, but these things cannot be separated. They are one and the same. So y'all know how they say that comparison is the thief of joy? Yeah, well, it's not only the thief of joy, but it is a sign of ungratefulness. And I'm just going to leave that right there. I could say so much about that. If you don't listen to anything else I've said, then listen to this, that discipline is a necessity in all aspects of life. In order to have that right kind of consistency, you need to be disciplined. However, without discipline, you will be consistent in being undisciplined and inconsistent in the things that you want and aspire towards. Now, when I say I learned these things, I mean wholeheartedly that it was being learned through my experiences, and that the knowledge I had of these things had become wisdom, which is applied knowledge. Now, I only just turned 20. I have so much more to learn and experience, and when I do, best believe I will share it with you guys. Be blessed and stay tuned.